Welcome back. We are here again today at the house. Today's project is putting holes in walls. So I'm going to start with putting holes in walls for switches, outlets, things like that. So here we go.
I can't believe they wallpapered this.
They wallpapered right over the box.
That sounds like a fire hazard. Maybe it's not.
I genuinely don't know, but not recommended. So there's the original knob and tube box. Let me just try and peel these layers of, layer after layer of wallpaper away here. And how many layers are there?
Depends which area of the kitchen you're in.
Okay, that I think is the original layer of wallpaper. There we go. Here we go. Now we've gotten to it.
All right, it's officially been 1 week since we started putting holes in the wall for switches and outlets. This week, Jeffrey has finished putting holes in the walls for all of the light switches, but today we are going to start cutting holes for outlet boxes. But before we jump into that, Jeffrey's going to give a rundown of some of the big updates that happened in the past week. So let's get into it.
So, first things first, last Monday, I dug some holes. There's a hole here. There's a hole over here as well. You'll notice this nice orange fencing. That's so I don't get sued. So in this hole, there is now conduit, which is basically just a pipe going from here to over here. Would you believe the electrical company was going to charge me $4,000 if I wanted them to do that? So I just did it myself. Um, Shout out my brother who helped me. That was great. Love him. Um, so that was my Monday project. Also happening on Monday, we had electrical hookup installed by the electrician, also my brother. He hooked up the outside pieces of the electrical. Then there's wire going inside right here. We'll show you the panel in a little bit. So that was Michael. Thanks a lot. Then over here we have our gas hookup was installed as well. This is the gas pipe into the building. This is our gas service right here. So we just have like, what is that, 8 inches that it needs to travel. We'll have our HVAC guy do that when he comes back to hook up the furnace. So that's pretty much everything outside. Now we're gonna head on inside. All right, so on inside we've got holes cut out for light switches. There's about 9 of these through the main floor here. This is the one right in the entryway. We're gonna have a double gang box just for 2 light switches, one for the outlets in this room, excuse me, and one for the overhead light that we're gonna have in here as well. So that's the only double gang light switch box in the main floor. Other than that, they're all just single boxes. And we've got string here strung all the way from the basement now in all of these light switch holes. The idea behind that is it's going to make pulling up the wire from the basement a little bit easier, so we won't have to fish anything. It's already fished right here. So now we'll head on downstairs. All right, we are directly underneath the box we were just at upstairs. Here's the string in the basement, so we can use this string to just pull wire through where we've already fished, and then we have wire up to that switch box. Now that we're in the basement, let's go ahead and take a look at the other side of what our electrician was doing on Monday. He got our electrical panel installed. We've got our big wire connecting the outside to inside. And now this panel is in. They also added one outlet just to make life a little bit easier later on. But right now, we've only got 2 breakers in here. While we were outside, you guys probably saw that green sticker on the electrical hookup outside. That tells us that our inspection for the electrical service installation passed. And that means we are off to the electrical company to have them hook up outside. And then after that, we've got power to the box, and we'll start hooking everything up inside.
Well, that is all of the recap from the past week. So now let's go back to cutting some holes in walls for outlets.
Let's go! Earlier, we talked about fishing for our light switches. That's up here at about arm's level. Today, we were cutting and fishing some holes for outlets. Here's one example of that. They're 10 inches from the ground to the outlet. We did a handful of those today. We're going to come back and continue doing that later. I'm going to come back and cut a bunch of holes, and then we're going to come back and fish everything. What we were doing for fishing it was I would go to the basement, figure out where we need to put a hole through the floor in that wall, and then I'd put a fish stick up through there. And when I say fish stick, I'm not talking about food. I'd put a fish stick up through there. Amanda would grab it, tie some string to it, and then I'd pull it back down through. And now we've got string in that hole, so we can come back later and pull wire through.
We got a number of the outlets done today, but we still have a long way to go. So we're going to do the rest of them off camera, but we're going to wrap up this video. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. But otherwise, see you all in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.